All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, today we're going to be talking about incentives. Okay. Some of you guys may know what that means, some of you guys may not. If you don't, that's what we're here for to learn about that. If you do have an idea, great. You're already one step ahead. Okay. So, now today, objective we're going to analyze the effectiveness of negative incentives. And yes, there are negative incentives. You may have experienced negative incentives without you knowing what it was. Okay. We're examining the different types of incentives. Okay. And we're going to create an argument on whether incentives always work. Okay. Now, here's your warm up picture. So, here's the question for you. What is this artist trying to say about people's chase for money? Okay. Now, the thing is, some students in class were kind of like, okay, I don't really get that question. So think of it like this. A lot of people, I'm sure you know some people who are like, they're hustling, they're trying to make that money. Here's the thing. Have you ever heard of anyone ever going, you know what? I have $5 million. I'm good. Yeah, that's all I need. Just 5 million. I'm good. Okay. Now it's one thing for somebody to say that about the lottery, but if someone's actually hustling and doing this and that, do you ever hear them say, "Oh, I'm just gonna stop at $1 million"? Then yeah, then I'll be good. Then I'll stop what I'm doing. Do you ever hear that? No, right? So what do you think is gonna happen when they get to that $1 million mark? Do you think they're gonna keep going? And let's say they say, okay, now let's say this level. Do you think they're gonna be satisfied? So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to show with this picture here. So again, what is this artist trying to say about people's basically chasing that money, you know. So look at the picture, analyze it, break it down, and write your response. Okay. Now, if you still don't get this question, um, you can come see me. I'll help break it down, maybe explain a little bit better. Okay. But do not put I see a person, I see a money sign, I see clouds. No, don't do not put that because again, that's not what I'm asking. Okay. You will lose points if you put that kind of stuff down. Okay. Because that's not what the question's asking. Okay. So pause the video, write your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right. So incentives. Incentives are anything that motivates a person to behave a certain way. Okay. Um, like I've said in class, if you have little brothers and sisters and they're just bothering you, they're just keep on making noise and you just want peace and quiet, you may have told them, you know, if you guys shut up for an hour, I'll get you guys some Takis. Or I'll buy you a soda, you know, something like that. I'll take you to a certain place. Right? You may have said, done that, or it may have been done to you. When you were a kid, one of your aunts, uncles, somebody like that told you, if you just shut up for like half an hour, I'll get you a soda. I'll take you here. I'll take you there. I'll buy you this or buy you that. All right? That's an incentive. You do this, you get this. Okay? Now, when it comes to economics, its preferences are people's needs, wants, and desires. But here's the problem with that. Does everybody want the same thing? No. No, nobody does. 'Cause here's the thing. Some people might want something similar, but it won't be exact. Okay. Um, so that's the problem. Okay. Because not everyone wants the exact same thing. Some people want a little less, some people want a little more, some people want something totally different. So it's kind of hard because and that's where you got to find out like what drives this person. What do they really want or desire? Okay. Now, there are five major incentives for people. Now, these incentives are for mainly when you're an adult. Right now, because you don't really have, an independent life where you have your own place, you have your own job, you pay your own bills. And again, not just bills like, oh, I pay my phone bill. No, we're talking mortgage, we're talking rent, we're talking electric, gas, um, water, trash, you know, car payment, things like that. All these bills, not just one bill. We're talking like a bunch. Okay. The thing is, like I said in class, some of these incentives you're gonna be like, well, I don't care about that. Yeah, now you don't care about it. But when you're on your own and you have a responsibility, you will be caring about these. Okay. So the five major incentives: tax incentive, financial incentives, subsidies, tax rebates, and negative incentives. So let's start off with the tax incentive. Um, as you may know already, when you have your job, things like that, your independence, some of that, you got to pay your taxes. Okay, and they do suck because you don't even really have to pay. They just straight take it from you. And sometimes if you make too much money, you have to pay the government more in taxes. Um, but sometimes to encourage you to do certain things or encourage you to buy certain items, the government will give you a tax incentive. Okay. One of the great examples of this is a mortgage interest deduction. Because here's the thing, believe it or not, the government does want you to buy property. They want you to own land. They want you to own a home. The reason why? Because when you buy a home, right, you're going to need to buy stuff like a garden hose. You're going to need cleaning tools, toilet paper, decorations, pots, pans, plates, utensils, things like that. And some of you guys, maybe like some students in my class who were like, I can get that from my mom. Yeah, you might. But here's the thing: are you constantly going to go to your mom's for toilet paper, Comet, Windex, vacuum cleaner, things like that? No, you're going to need to buy that for yourself. So that makes the economy go when run efficiently when people buy things for their house or for other things for their car, things like that. When you spend money on little things, not just one big giant thing, a bunch of little things, that makes the economy run. Okay. um so with this mortgage interest deduction, basically ensures that the money paid towards your mortgage interest isn't a tax isn't taxed as a taxable income. Okay. Uh, when you get money, anytime you get money, you're going to be taxed on it. Whether you win the lottery, somebody died in your family and left you some money, um, you put your money in the stock market and you made a ton of money and you cash out. Anytime you receive money, you have to pay taxes on it. Okay. But in this case, you will not be taxed on it because again the government wants you to get a mortgage on your home and things like that and put into it and stuff like that. Okay. Now, tax incentives also work for corporations. Okay. One of the best examples is like in sports. So, like the uh, Las Vegas Raiders, right? They were in Oakland. They were looking for a new place. And the city of Las Vegas basically told them, hey, if you come to Vegas, we'll let you pick the land you want the stadium to be at. We'll help you pay for a large chunk of that stadium, right? Whatever the bill is, $2 billion, we'll pay at least half. And on top of that, you won't have to pay property tax on that land for like 10, 15 years. So that's the incentive that the team got to move from Oakland to Las Vegas. And it worked. They jumped ship. Now, basically, Vegas is doing game almost the exact same offer to the Oakland Athletics, the baseball team. So now that baseball team is moving to Vegas. Okay, because again, the incentive to move over there was too great. They were like, yeah, this is a great deal. We'll take it. Okay. Now, financial incentives. This is a broader term for any monetary benefit given to a consumer, employer, corporation, or organization. It's known as chasing the carrot. Okay, it's basically any money benefit that helps you. Again, whether you're the buyer, you're the employer, you own the corporation or organization. Okay. Um, Now these type of incentives might make them people do a certain thing they otherwise wouldn't do. You know. Uh, Now some employers, let's say you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to work for Disney or for this other company. And Disney will say, okay, well, you know what? Instead of giving you a cash bonus, we'll give you stock options. Stock options means you own a little bit of the company. So instead of you getting like a $5,000 bonus at the end of the year, you will own part of like Disneyland. Okay. I gave the great example in class, like when Apple first started off in the 1980s. Some people who were starting off with that company, they weren't giving bonuses, they were giving stock options. And at that time, some people traded it away for a couple $100. Now that stock is worth billions of dollars, you know? So, yeah, they got rid of it early on, thinking, oh, it's not, this company's not going to be doing anything. I need that $100 right now. They weren't thinking ahead. Okay. Um, The other thing is to commission. So if you're working for a place, they might say, we'll pay you like your hourly wages, but you can also make money by commission. Meaning, if you sell certain items, you will get part of the percentage of whatever that might be. So a lot of times, if car dealerships, they pay by commission. So the more cars you sell, the more money you make. But here's the thing I've been telling students in class, and I'm telling you this now. So hopefully you're listening to this. When you apply for a job and they tell you we pay by commission, you need to ask them, is there a cap on the commission? Now, if they say yes, basically it's like this. Let's say the cap is $10,000. So let's say you're selling cars, you're doing a great job that month, you're selling cars left and right, boom, 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 boom. You're going to get that $10,000, right? You hit that mark. Anything after that mark, you're not going to get that money. It doesn't transfer to the next month, or oh, you still had 300 bucks left over from last month, we'll just give you that money. No, no, it's in that month. What did you sell? And you hit the cap. Anything over goes to that company. You don't get anything. Okay. So you need to know if there's a cap. If they say yes, find out how much. If they say no, keep selling, because you could have a really, really good check coming into you. If you have a commission job, you're a good salesman, and there's no cap, man, people can make really good money. Okay. Now, as the buyer, one of the biggest examples of how they get you to, use financial incentives is sales. 40% off, 50% off. Like right now, Christmas items, they're what, like 80, 90% off? That's an incentive. They want you to buy it. They wanted you to buy it, take all that Christmas stuff out of their hands. So they made it really, really cheap. Okay. The other thing is too, like BOGOs, buy one, get one. So people are kind of suckered in a sense to buy something. They're encouraged to buy more with these discounts and sales like buy one, get one. Now, subsidies are government programs that are set to help companies with economic growth. One of the biggest ones, especially like right now because of where we live, um, is for farmers. Excuse me, keep burping up. Sorry about that. Um, so like right now it's the winter time. Last night it was 28 degrees was a low. That's below freezing. Freezing is at 32 degrees. and last night it was at 28. So some farmers, if they didn't have the tarps over their oranges, or they didn't have the heaters or lamps and things like that going on, um, those oranges probably froze, and they could get rotten. So if that happened, the government would then step in and say, okay, how much pounds of you know um, oranges were destroyed by the freeze? Let's say it was 1,000 pounds. Okay, then they'll give a pay them for that 1,000 pounds of bad oranges. You know, because they want to make sure that these farmers, you know, don't get into debt, don't lose their farms and things like that. Okay. Now, a tax rebate. This stuff happens for you and me. Okay. These are incentives to take certain actions. The difference between a tax rebate and those other financial incentives and stuff like that is the thing is you have to pay full price first, and then you get the money back. Okay. Uh, so one of the great examples is like solar energy. Okay. Solar panels. Um, Before, I don't know how it is now, but before the government would say, the federal government would say, if you buy solar panels, let's say they cost $1,000 each, right? You had to pay $1,000 for each one. Then they said, we'll give you, let's say, a $600 rebate. Okay. So with that, you had to pay the $1,000 per solar panel first. And then you just had to go online or fill out some paperwork. And then you would get a check for those $600 per solar panel. Okay. So you had to pay the full price first and then do the rebate. Some stores do the rebates and it'll say like it will be handled at the register. Okay. So that's cool. It's like, all right, they'll do it right there and then at the register. Um, Whereas sometimes they'll say you need to fill out this paperwork. You need to go online and fill out this paperwork to get your money back. So again, you have to pay the full price, but then you got to do some stuff to get a check. Okay, but you will get the check. Okay, but you just got to do that extra step. Okay. Now the last one is known as a negative incentive. Another name for a negative incentive is disincentives. This is punishment towards people financially for taking a certain action. Now, is disincentives always about money? No, no. I've had some parents told me because their child, my former student, wasn't doing well in class or they were doing things inappropriately or saying inappropriate things, the parent would tell me, well, you know what? I'm going to take their power cord from their PlayStation or Xbox or TV or whatever. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the Xbox. I'm going to take their tablet. So they're taking away something from that student. Okay. That's their punishment. Okay. And research has shown time and time again, people will behave a certain way faster when something they really want or something they have is taken away from them. You know, so I've seen it firsthand. When kids are being disrespectful to their parents, the parents will take the tablet away or phone or whatever, and they, oh, mom, give me what? No, no, look at the way you're acting. So no, you won't get it back until you behave. Ah, I hate you. Ah, things like that. And after a while, after they're acting all like a little kid, then they calm down. Can I have it back now? Well, keep it up. You're doing good so far. Oh, because hey, that parent's had enough. So they're taking stuff away. Now, in this case, economically, a lot of times it's money. They'll charge people for things. There'll be a fine, things like that. Okay. Um, Now there are some stores in California right now where they will charge you for using plastic bags. 10 cents per bag, things like that. Um, because the thing is, they want you to use recyclable bags, reusable bags. Okay, so that's what they're trying to do. That's why they charge you those 10 cents per bag, so that you'll use those reusable bags. Now, there's actually some stores like Target, I know used to do this, where if you use a reusable bag, they'll give you 10 cents back. Now, I had a student in class today going, well, it's just 10 cents. I'm like, yeah, but what would you rather do? Get 10 cents or have to spend 10 cents? What would you rather do? And they're like, get 10 cents. Like, exactly. You'd rather get than have it taken away from you, even though it's just 10 cents. Okay. Now, here is my question to you. If the government gave some type of cash for grades program where for every A you get $50, B you get 35, C you get 20, D you get $5, and if you get an F, R, or NG, you get nothing. Do you think every, not just some or a lot, every student would try their hardest? Why or why not? All right, so think about that. Um, Again, if they had a program where you got paid, at the end of the semester per letter grade, do you think do you think every student would try their hardest to get good grades? What do you think? All right. Why or why not? Explain. Okay. Now, once you've answered this question, you're done with this lesson. So do me a favor before you pause, turn the video off and some of that. Um, Double check at the very front of the paper. Make sure your name's on it. I last semester I had a lot of students turn in, packets because they again something happened. Um, they missed class and they watched the video and they did the paper. They did all the work, but they didn't put their name on it. Okay. Now you have to remember, I have over 200 students, so and you're not the only person watching this right now doing this. There is at least 10 other students, maybe even 15 or 20, who are doing the same thing. Okay. And I'm not going to spend time analyzing writing and some of that. No. So if you don't put your name, you're not getting credit for it. So take that 3 seconds to flip the paper, look at the front, and make sure your name's on it. Okay. Because again, if you don't, you're not getting credit for it. All right. So with that being said, you guys take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Okay.